Welcome,
I can
welcome.
be
You are
around
at
just
the Matrix
2 minutes.
Readers Theater, and we are joined by Grace, who is actually going to not be with us for long. She's doing a workshop to teach people how to be able to make these mud ovens. And when I visited Cameroon, and when I visited in other places in Africa, there were so many children so severely burned, and because I was at the major hospital there in Uganda with another child, Ivan, and almost 90% of these kids were burned. And how and why? Because they play around the open cooking fire that they cook there, and they trip and they fall into the fire. Is that not right, Grace?
Yes, you're right.
So this is so dangerous. And the women of Cameroon, that was one of the things that they were so proud of, learning and understanding how to be able to cook so that smoke wasn't in the house and wasn't bothering, and the kids in the family now were safe. That's what you're going to be showing. Can you talk more now and show us more about it? Because that's the intro.
Okay, so here we have a sustainable cooker where we build out of mud bricks, some earth, stones, or bottles, and we connect the chimney there. And here is a place where you put the wood so that it burns, and we are still in the process of fixing, and the smoke comes out, the heat comes out, the pot stands here, and the fire goes up here. Then we have the stones at this corner for the insulation. And when we are done, we'll have a smooth surface where we can cook, and here we can put other kitchen materials. And from here, we connect the chimney so that the smoke don't get into our eyes. The smoke doesn't pollute the environment. So we are building a sustainable and smoke-free kitchen.
You talk about the bricks there. Where did the bricks come from?
Before this project, we had to mold these bricks about 3 weeks before the project. So we did this bricks.
Can you talk a little bit about how you, can you talk, now maybe it's not the same way as I was shown when they did the brick making, but can you talk about the brick making there and how you do it?
Yeah, for making these bricks, we used water, soil, sand, because sand is also an insulator. We use sawdust and straw so that it doesn't break easily. That's why we have very solid bricks that doesn't break easily. And for the building, we use mortar in between. That's soil that has been mixed with sand and sawdust and water. We put in between so that it becomes strong and it doesn't fall apart.
When I was in Uganda, I think, I get Uganda, Kenya a little mixed up, but anyhow, they had this big pit of mud, and they had a mold kind of that they'd slap the stuff on and then smooth it out, and they'd make this big hive kind of thing, and then they would light the fire, the inside of it, to kiln them. How do you make your bricks strong after you?
Well, after mixing the mud and mixing everything, we have these molds. Sorry, this one has been here for long, and plants grew in it and cut it. We have the molds where we put the soil, the mix, where we put the soil that has already been mixed in here, and we pull it out to have a rectangle shape like this.
So
Yeah.
So you don't cook it, or it doesn't cure or anything like that from?
No, just the sun is enough to dry it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it in your school or house?
It's enough to dry it off.
Grace,
Okay.
But
is
if
it
you
in
have
your
a
school or house?
Johanna, what do you say?
I want to say this project is there is schools or the home, Grace home or school. This is the
Grace,
project at your
Grace,
home or school. Grace.
Grace the oven. Is it for home or for school?
No, it's for home. It's for everything. It's just a sustainable cooker. If you want to cook in your home, in your restaurant, anywhere you want to build it, then it's fine. Because we say sustainable because it should be, anybody can be able to make it. Yeah, just from natural materials, you don't need to incur a lot of cost. Because if you have soil, you make your soil on your own, you have the straw. So this you can make on your own without incurring any cost. Yeah, you just need labor. Sorry, I will need to complete this and I'll need to leave you now. Definitely, if still time when you are in the reading room and it's completed, I'll call you back so that you see the finished product.
So it will be finished today?
Yeah, it will be finished today. We still have about at most an hour to go.
Oh.
Yes.
Well,
So,
I'm glad you came and shared with us what you do, because we just go into the kitchen and turn on the gas stove and cook. We don't even really give it a thought. But for me, I mean, I do, because having traveled in the countries and seeing what happens with it's amazing, and I don't know why that's not more and more and more people learn how to do that. But it also sort of says to me, gee, if we're trying to be sustainable here and stuff, we have the ability to be able to make something like that outside, and I think it would be great. So you're going to have to try and teach us how to do that, I think.
Yeah, so we do it because not everybody will afford money to constantly paying for gas every month. And we also do this because it eases labor. Because if you just have the 3 stones and you put a pot on it, the heat escapes. But when you have it like this, it has a lot of insulation and you use less wood in doing it. So it's reachable to everybody. And for those who cannot actually afford buying gas every month or paying for other bills. And it's also a substitute because if you have this and you find yourself where you're unable to buy gas, you have this, then it's very sustainable.
Well, you know what? I think that we really, anybody have, I'm sorry, anybody have any questions before she has to run? Because I think we are so lucky to have these things that are pop up on us.
Do you make bread on this cooker or cook only?
I'm sorry, Mustafa, you want to ask her question again?
Do you use this cooker for making bread or cooking only?
Do you use
we have the same example in Egypt. We use it to bake bread. It is made of mud bricks and have a metal bar inside it. We put bread on the metal bar and it is calm bread on outside of it.
Yeah, we also make the oven, but here is the cooker. if we wanted to make an oven where you can cook and bake at the same time, you would have connected it. That's another design, but this design is just for cooking.
For cooking only. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
What is the longevity like? How long does it, can you use this?
You can use it as long as possible once you are careful and you are cautious, because it's like a house and it's really very solid. So it depends how you manage it well.
What do you mean by managing it well? What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by, when you want to put wood, you don't like put, because this is the wood chamber, you don't like put it so that it starts wearing out here, because once there's constant friction between the wood and the bricks, it starts falling apart. So you just need to manage it very well.
Okay, okay.
Very nice.
Any other questions?
Tracy, everybody is waiting outside and I'll need to run now.
Okay, well, you just tell them that you just did a workshop inside and now you're coming out to do the workshop outside. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
Grace.
Bye.
Okay, so I really don't know what we're going to do, because I sent out a note saying, giving an idea, and then I got a note from Olga N. Which Olga? You? Olga Z, I don't know. One of them saying they wanted to do a Guffalo. And so, and then Katrina was going to do Fisherman and Go Fish. So we are missing quite a few people. And do we have a new one? Karina? Is she new? Karina. Okay. So welcome, Karina. If you'd like to read, we'd love to have you read, because I think Guffalo has quite a few parts. And and do you want to do the first and then the second, so you have kind of the first story of the Guffalo and then the Guffalo and child, or do you want to just do Guffalo and child?
We just already read it. I was going to make only one.
Okay. Well, the reason I suggested is because, remember, the one that we did previously is not open to everybody. However, you don't mind that being opened up to be made public, so we'll do that, and we'll just do Guffalo's child. How's that?
What do you think, Tim? Would you like to read both parts or only one? The second one. I can't hear you, Nilanjana.
You have to unmute.
Anything that you would prefer.
Anything. Okay, I think one is enough, because we had already some time passed. So I'm going to share my screen with you, if I can. Tracy.
Your host.
I am already.
All right.
Thank you. So for this reading, I sent out the cartoon based on this story, and kids that were supposed to take part in this reading, they could watch this cartoon and even pre-read this story, because I sent out. But as you see, nobody came in, only my daughters are here. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to take parts that you want to play. So. You see there are different characters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we are less than 10. I think we are 8. So I could give 2 parts for, 2 short parts for somebody. So if you like, you can raise your hand, but I think a squirrel is going to be Polina, my little daughter, because she has only 1 or 2 lines in the beginning. Nastya, what would you like to be? Would you like to be a fox?
Yeah, I'm a fox.
Okay. Rayana, what would you like to be? What character?
As you wish, you can give me.
Would you like to be a main character? So, Guffalo's child. Actually, in this, there are more than 1 great roles that you can choose. So they are almost all are quite long.
Okay. As you wish.
So what?
Give me any character.
Any. Okay. Then I think maybe a mouse.
Okay, boss.
Okay, mouse, Rayana. Okay. And Mustafa, would you like to be Guffalo?
Okay.
Is the only gentleman in our company?
Thank you.
So Mustafa Guffalo. Okay. Tracy, would you like to be a narrator 1? This in red is narrator 1.
It's the red one, yes. Okay.
Okay, Tracy. Then there is Mommy Squirrel. Who wants to be Mommy Squirrel? Nilanjana. Okay, very good. Nilanjana. Mommy Squirrel. And I propose you to take some other part, maybe an owl or a snake, because this is a short one. Nilanjana, what would you like? Snake, owl?
Owl. Owl.
All right. So there is already, who are you?
I want to be the little mouse.
Squirrel.
Yes.
Okay, you are. So who's left? Guffalo's child. Tracy, are you a narrator? And who's there else? Karina Pegova, would you like to join us and read a part of the Guffalo's child? Karina, you're muted. Can we hear?
Sorry, I'm doing shopping right now. It's very inconvenient for me to. I can just listen.
Okay, good.
So we are not counting you in. All right.
You give me another character also, if you need.
So Rihanna is a mouse, and you can be a. I think it would
Mouse.
Narrated two, yeah.
Okay, narrated 2.
Narrated
Okay.
2.
Mouse and narrated 2, Raihana.
So I can take what's left. Guffalo's child, yeah? Is somebody Guffalo's child? No? I guess no.
I don't believe so.
Okay. I think a snake is left, yeah?
What's this cat doing?
Who wants to be a snake as well?
What's this?
Mustafa.
I can do snake with Mustafa.
Would you like? Huh?
Mustafa, Guffalo's child.
No, Mustafa is Guffalo and the snake. Okay.
Okay.
Snake.
Right.
Okay.
Now we will start. I'm very glad you came here and you helped me to read this, because if there are two less people, we will not be able to read it, yeah? So, Squirrel, would you start, please?
Who's a Guffalo?
Whose are these footprints?
Wait, whose are these footprints?
Mama.
Mama, the Guffalo's in here.
Wood.
No, too small.
Huh?
What else could it be?
What else could it be? Well, I'll tell you what it could be. The Gruffalo said that.
No, Guffalo should never set foot in the deep dark wood.
Why not?
Why not? Oh, because if you do, the big bad mouse will be after you. I met him once. I met him a long, long time ago.
What does he look like? Tell us, Dad. Is he terribly big and terribly bad?
I can't quite remember.
The Gruffalo said. Then he thought for a minute and scratched his head.
The big bad mouse is terribly strong,
Terribly strong.
and his scaly tail is terribly long.
Terribly long.
His eyes are like pools or terrible fire,
Terrible fire.
and his terrible whisker are tougher than wire.
Tougher than wire.
The big bad mouse is terribly strong, and his scaly tail is terribly long. His eyes are like pools of terrible fire, and his terrible whiskers are tougher than wire.
One snowy night, when the Gruffalo snored, the Gruffalo's child was feeling bored. The Gruffalo's child was feeling brave, so she tiptoed out of the Gruffalo cave.
The snow fell fast, and the wind blew wind into the wood went the buffalo's child.
Oh, aha, oh-ho, a trail in the snow. Who is this trail? Whose is this trail?
Messenger video.
Please, narrator one.
I'm sorry. A tail poked out of a log pile house. Could this be the tail of the big bad mouse? Out slid the creature.
His eyes are small and he doesn't have whiskers. No, none at all. You're not the mouse.
Not high, but he's down by the lake, eating a Gruffalo cake.
Oh, oh!
The snow fell fast, and the wind blew wind.
I'm not scared.
Said the Gruffalo's child.
Aha, oh, marks in the snow. Whose are those claw marks? Where do they go? Oh, Miss Milena.
Two eyes gleamed out of a treetop house. Down flew the creature.
His tail is short and he doesn't have whiskers of any sort. Not you have the mouse.
Not I, but he's somewhere nearby eating Gruffalo pie.
Ah,
The snow fell fast, and the wind blew wind.
I'm not scared.
Said the Gruffalo's child. And then, aha, oh-ho, a track in the snow. Whose is this track, and where does it go? Whiskers at last, and an underground house.
Could this be the home of the big bad mouse? Ah.
This is mine.
narrated to is
Outslant the creature, his eyes aren't fairy. His tail isn't scaly, his whiskers aren't oily.
true. Oh, you're not the mouse.
Guffalo?
You're not the mouse.
Mouse? Oh, not me. She's under a tree. Drinking Guffalo tea.
Aha, it's all a trick,
said the Gruffalo's child, as she sat on a stump where the snow lay piled.
I don't believe in the big bad mouse, but here comes a little one out of his house. Not big, not bad, but a mouse at least. You'll taste good as a midnight feast.
Mouse is me?
Oh, sorry.
Diana? Where is he?
Sorry.
Wait, before it. There is a friend of mine that you ought to meet. If you let me go on a tour Hazel Creek, I will beckon my friend so bad and big.
The Gruffalo's child unclenched her fist.
A big bad mouse? So he does exist.
The mouse hopped into the hazel tree. He beckoned, then said,
Just wait and see. Out came the moon. It was bright and round. A terrible shadow fell into the ground.
Who is this creature so big, bad, and strong? His tail and his whiskers are terribly long. His ears are enormous, and over his shoulders he carries a nut as big as a boulder.
The big bad mouse!
The mouse jumped down from the twig and smiled.
Oh, prints in the snow. Whose are these footprints? Where do they go? The big bad mouse.
Mummy's school. Little Angela.
Yes. The footprints led to the Guffalo cave, where the Guffalo's child was a bit less brave. The Guffalo's child was a bit less bored, and the Guffalo snored and snored and snored.
Okay, thank you very much. This was good. Actually, I wanted to ask you before the reading, what do you think is this story going to be about? But as we are already introduced to the characters and to the plot, please share your opinion. What is the story actually about? What's behind the plot and the characters? Do you have any ideas?
I think it's aimed that the mother the care of its child and afraid of facing any trouble when they go out of their house.
Oh, very nice idea, Mustafa.
Thanks.
I think you're quite right. Any other suggestions?
Well, I kind of like the idea that, you know, kids like to listen to the parents' stories, but they kind of like to explore them.
Some days ago at Nilanjana's home, we see the squirrel.
Yeah.
I remember it.
That's right. Well, how appropriate, she was Mother Squirrel.
Yeah.
You know, though,
children love this because this is the animal characters. Squirrel is very interesting.
yes, that's that. You actually could turn that whole kind of thing into a play or a script. But Yeah, I just think it shows the inquisitiveness of the child to go out and explore to find out if, in fact, what dad is really saying is true, and the ingenuity of the mouse to realize he's going to have to pull something else out of his sleeve, so to speak, to make himself look big. And I would assume that he's using a shadow. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yes, yes, that's right.
I was going to share my screen with you and show you the cartoon, but I thought it would be too long, so I didn't. But
well, you know, I think that's fun to be able to look at the cartoon and then compare it to the reading and see, you know, if the, but you know, there was something else that I noticed which didn't really have anything to do with the characters, but it had to do with the words. I don't know if anybody else noticed it too.
Well,
rhyming words going all the way through it gave it a rhythm to read, which when there's a rhythm to what it is you're reading, particularly at the beginning, it's always a little easier, you know. And so many languages, not so much in English, I don't think, but other languages have a beautiful rhythm and song to it, you know. And if you can pick up and tune into that, sometimes you better understand what it is they're saying, even though you don't understand what they're saying. I don't know if that makes total sense, but so there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this play, both talking about inquisitive children going out to discover, talking about how does one use shadows to make things. You do a whole shadow play and stuff from this, and then you can also do, you know, the whole rhyming words piece with it, and having people find different words that are rhyming. So it's an awesome play. I'm glad you have shared this with us, because you know, as things go up into our library, and the ideas of how different ways you can use them and develop them is
yeah. About tourism, I took the script from that cartoon for making it easier for children, you know. In the play itself, or in the book itself, there are no squirrel words and no mommy squirrel. They are added for better vision, yeah, in the cartoon. It looks nicer. And as a follow-up activity, I thought we can take some scripts, or not some exercises at the life worksheets. I was going actually to share it with you, but now I can't. I don't know why. Here, I opened it, and now I can show it to you. There is a nice, I'm sure you all know of this site, Life Worksheets. Did you see it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And there are also many activities based on this story that you can give to your children. Oh, well, I don't know, I'm always talking about children, although we're not all children here. And this would enlarge the vocabulary of the children, yeah, in case of body parts of animals or whatsoever, yeah. So there is a lot to do before the reading and after the reading.
Oh, nice website.
I'm just going to throw in again that having them available to members is great. Pushing them or using them as a technique of development with the Readers Theaters is not, because I don't believe necessarily learning happens with worksheets. I unfortunately tend to think of those as busy work, and I would love to see, there was one there that looked like it was a puzzle of some sort. Okay, I might say, you know, maybe you'd want to make your own puzzle. You know, how could you take this and make your own puzzle, or can you make your own game or whatever? But you know, matrix-wise, the creation and the development has to come from, and the decision of how they want to share it out comes from.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you see,
do you understand, Olga? Do you understand what I'm talking about? I mean, certainly there's the stuff that you offer, but how they use it, what they want to create with it, how do they want to share it back with the rest of the members? You know, is got to come from inside.
Nastya, how is she going to use it when to give back to her? I don't know, school mates or whatever. Nastya, would you please answer this question? What would you do as a facilitator if you were head of this reading theater, or whatever? Maybe you would just want to discuss this story in your class, or what? Unmute, please, Nastya.
I would maybe discuss this story in the class.
Any more ideas?
It's yeah. You're kind of putting her on the spot there.
Yeah.
Are you both in the same room?
No, in different. So
well, she keeps looking over like I'm thinking she's looking over at you and saying. Anyhow, you know. Again, and since we do have somebody new here, the whole point of the Readers Theater is really it's a process, it's a step. Just to be able to come in to listen and watch and hear, that's the first step, okay? And sometimes people, after they've seen it like, you know, a few minutes, it's okay, I'm ready, I want to try. Others, it takes a couple of times, and it's okay, because everything that we do is really just facilitating the group and the individuals to move and develop as they are through the process of first just listening, and then feeling confident enough to try the reading and to try more parts, and getting the feeling and emotion into what they're reading, then going into, I don't like it, I want to change it, I want to adapt it, into writing their own. And in 2.5 months, we have members who are doing all of that now, writing their own scripts, doing all of this stuff, and in a very short time. Okay. And what does that do, knowing Jana?
It's like, it's always a tongue twister for you. I would just like to say, I just went there and I asked my daughter, would you like to read? She jumped and hopped in, and for a role, she was absolutely ready. Because what happens, what I asked my children also, why they are so delighted, because here there is no work. They just have to read. It's a pleasurable experience for them. So what Tracy is saying, that should be the first step. So, you know, when interest in child psychology, interest is a whole lot of new chapter itself. So once the child starts taking interest, before even we guide them to do anything, they can come up with ideas. But the first step is always that they take interest. Okay. So I felt this for my daughter, because immediately she was all set to read. No matter how big or small the role is, but she was ready.
She was ready. And who did you have, Olga, in your lap? Who did you have in your lap?
This is my little daughter. She's 5. And
she's 5.
She's not reading quite well, just CVC words.
Wait. He's 5.
Yes.
What language does he speak?
We speak all together, all 3 of us, we speak 3 languages: Russian, English, and German.
And so at 5, you expect him to speak the English language and read it as well as he is speaking the Russian?
She speaks not as well, but enough.
Okay, I've got a story. I've got a story here for you.
Yes, please.
I hope that you will think about this. I have a very good friend whose family is Russian. Mamaika, her family is Russian, and Nina actually came to the United States and does translation for the UN and so forth. And her husband is Italian.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, they had a son, Andrushka, who was the same age as my son, Jonathan. They were both about 5 or 6. She runs a school, a private school, very, very good private school, still going, Castile International School in Italy. She comes to me and she asks me, will you test Andrushka? Because I think there's something wrong in how he learns. Because I am a special ed educator as well. And I said, well, why do you think that? And I says, well, I just think there's something wrong with his learning skills and his language. And I said, well, I'm not going to test him until I really watch him. Okay, I always watch and observe first. So while we're talking, Andrushka comes in and he and his mom are sitting there talking back and forth. And I'm not understanding a single word of what they're saying because I asked Mamaika, what are you talking in? And she said, we talk in Russian. We always talk in Russian. Okay. No, that makes sense. Later on in the afternoon, Andrushka and I, we don't have any problems conversing. I mean, I understand what he's saying pretty easily. Okay. Later on in the afternoon, I'm out in like a gazebo thing with Johnny, her husband, and Andrushka comes in and they start going back and forth at it about doing something, and I don't know what it was because I didn't understand it, but I knew it wasn't the same language that he was speaking with his mother. I said to Johnny, what are you talking in? He says, we talk in Italian. We always talk in Italian. I says, wait a minute. You and the kids talk in Italian. Mike and the kids talk in Russian. He talks perfectly fine with me in English. I went back into Micah and I said, you think there's something wrong with a trilingual 6-year-old when most Americans are only one language all the way through their life? And she says, oh, maybe there's nothing wrong with him. I said, no, maybe there's nothing wrong with him. And you know what I realized is it's because it's the expectations of other cultures and communities, not Americans. And Americans, I think it's because we're a little snobby. You know, everybody's going to learn English, and so why should we learn any other language? I don't know. Although language is offered in high school, it should be offered right at the very beginning of the schools it should be. But you can't get it in there. And so by the time we get into high school, it's harder to learn. I took French for 4 years and they passed me just to get me out of the class, you know, because it was very, very difficult. So all I'm saying is you have a 5-year-old who sat on your lap and tried to read the English. And how did that little guy like it? Did he enjoy doing that?
She knows the script. Yes, it's her. She knows the script from the cartoons. I speak with my children 2 or 3 languages from the age of 2. So they do speak really, and it's not a problem for them to speak after 1 year. That works already. Yeah? Maybe the vocabulary is not that wide. Maybe there are some grammar mistakes, but that doesn't matter. They have fluency and they have no fear, and their ear works even better than mine, because sometimes they tell me they heard something that I didn't understood. Yeah. So this is not a problem, and that's why I'm not actually trying to make her read. She knows the story, she knows the words. That's why she's not reading exactly the words.
Oh, but she is reading, and you know, and that's why. Let me again clarify. When when we do these videos, it's for people to obviously go and see what it is we're discussing, because we talk about many things, but it's also to have an opportunity to watch the script, listen to the reading, and read along, okay? The more senses that we can involve in what we're doing, the more we remember it. So we're listening, we're speaking, we're watching, you know, and obviously, you know, whenever I'm doing readers theaters, I end up acting it out too, because all of those things is what develops comprehension and understanding. And remember, in the readers theaters, our assessment is as facilitators by watching, listening to the development of every learner. And again, I have suggested many times, go back to the beginning videos, pick one person and watch them and listen to them throughout a period of time. And then sit down and say, you've started here, you've made these improvements, you've done these things, you've increased this amount of stuff, and this is where you are now, because you can see that growth. You can see it in yourself. That's what makes the Readers Theater such an exciting thing. It's not threatening. It's a fun kind of place where people can participate on the level that they're ready to participate in. And you can always go back to the Matrix Center there and have that opportunity to, oh, there's Abdikar's screen. How did you do that? To be able to listen and make your own improvements too.
Yeah.
So, Abdikar, that's beautiful.
Hello. I've changed. I was just trying to use the I mean, to share something, because I'm not that aware about the Zoom application. Did I change the complete screen?
Oh, you did.
Oh, so shall I? Oh, I need maybe to quit then.
Well, maybe just because this is being recorded and it will be fun and interesting on the video. On our Readers Theater. Well, that just goes to show, you know, today, as we get ready to close off the recording, is we started today with the idea of reading, I think, the Guffalo or Fisherman's, I don't know what. And we had the pleasure of actually getting the opportunity to learn from Grace about the brick ovens and the sustainability of the ovens and what they do. And I think that was quite a pleasure. We had an opportunity to read The Guffalo's Child, and 3 kids to be involved with it is a wonderful thing. We've also talked a little bit more about, you know, just the whole philosophy and foundation behind the Readers Theater Clubs as we get ready to move this forward in a more global manner. So I'm going to just stop our video, and I can't, because I have to get my host back.
I want to add something. Nilanjana, will you please?
Yes, please. Yes.
What would you?
Oh, okay. All right. Olga Z, right? Yeah. One thing that I noticed, and this is for the first time that I'm noticing, because we are applying this in our schools, that is called color coding. Color coding. What I noticed in her script is that she had color coded each character's dialogues. So what happens is that, why do we also do it at our school? The child is attentive. children or even as adults, we tend to get distracted. But if we see our color coming, we immediately, you know, we are all ears to it. So that was fantastic. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Thing on.
And didn't Olga N do that first in hers, or was it Olga Z?
I have not seen so far.
It's me.
You. Yes. Okay. So
sorry for my.
We talked about the color coding and how well that worked, and something we want to be looking at as we put scripts in the library, and those people who are proofing it and editing it and curating it, maybe that's what we want to do, is to make sure that they're all color coded in that way.
Mm-hmm. I'll send it to you. Maybe you can share the link or how to add our scripts there. I still don't know actually. How can
actually right now the team is going to start gathering up people and sites and resources so that the library can start to be developed. You guys are writing scripts now on your own, and so in just a couple of months, you guys have developed like 4 or 5 scripts, I think, of your own. Yeah, and so as you move this out and more people get more involved and start enjoying the writing of scripts, that library will grow exponentially as we do. Okay, and we need to figure out how that's going to look and work, and I think it's really exciting because I really love the fact that I don't know when I open the room each time what's going to happen, you know? And even though this is a Readers Theater Club, it is really also a community that's been formed who has the ability and the opportunity that gets sparked and has been sparked through the scripts, but to share our language, our culture, our family, our kids, you know, so much in such a short time, and to be able to take what it is that we've done and turn around and start giving it back out, okay, I think is really amazing. And I just can't wait to see, you know, what we're going to do Wednesday. I'm excited to see what we finalize in the next week or two to be ready to open this thing up. I've got my web designer on it, I hope. And I'm really, really excited about the Matrix Readers Theater. And Olga, thank you so much for facilitating that. And the color coding is perfect.
Thank you.